Welcome to our video explaining all about expert mode. I'm loading an image here through the history viewer. I already loaded one earlier, which is why it's here already. We're using the Color 7 Professional program here. The following descriptions of expert mode are identical for all the programs where this expert mode is available. That includes, for instance, Color 7, Analog 4, Black and White 7, and their video counterparts. So, expert mode. What is it anyway, and where can we actually find it? Let's take a look at the top right corner. If we click expert mode here, this new expert mode appears. One of the things this expert mode contains is a list of filters. We can see them here. There are 204 filters in the Color 7 Professional program, and 6 effects are currently selected. Here is the list of selected effects. And these effects just apply these changes in the image. If I now select another preset here on the left, I get other effects that produce this specific image, this look. Basically, we could say that these selected effects are the recipe for the current look that we have in the image. We can also use expert mode to create our own presets and to modify existing presets. Here, I'm going to copy the current preset and call it My Preset. This preset is then copied and added to the custom category up here. It contains an exact copy of the preset we were just working on. Now in the selected effects, I click the right mouse button to open the context menu and remove all the effects. That is, I clear the preset. I'll save that. Now I can create a new preset here and put it together myself. To do that, I can use the list of available filters here. There's a huge number of them. There's also a context menu here where you can turn individual categories on and off. I will now look for the filter Dynamic Brightness. And this filter, which I've found here, I can add to the list of current selected effects by double-clicking. When you double-click, you can immediately see there is a change in the image. If I press the right mouse button, the original appears. The dynamic brightness has already changed something in the image. If I now select the dynamic brightness here, I can now change the parameters this effect provides for me. For instance, I can make the image brighter or darker. Let's make it completely dark. So, we've now added an effect ourselves and darkened the image. Let's look for another filter. We'll choose Color Dynamics. We also add that by double-clicking. Let's scroll down a little here. As you can see, when the dynamic brightness effect is on, we are shown this parameter set. And when Color Dynamics is on, we are shown this parameter set. We can also now manipulate this parameter set. For instance, we might say, let's increase the color dynamics to bring more color to the image, but maybe only in the midtones. We can do that down here using a masking curve. Then, in the masking curve, when we set masking here, we can see where the change from this effect takes place in real time. Wherever it's dark, the color doesn't change. Wherever it's bright, the color changes. I can also take the color out, just in the midtones. Here you can see a couple of areas that are given color in the dark areas and bright areas because we said only change the color in the midtones. I'm going to make the color stronger, and we've now built our own preset that darkens the image. The dynamic brightness effect analyzes the image to determine where the average value lies, and the brightness is then adjusted accordingly. Adaptively, you might say, with a certain amount of intelligence. We could now limit this change in brightness to a certain area using the gradient presets, which I click on. For example, with the third preset at the top here, we could say, I only want to change the brightness in the top half of the image and to make it weaker from top to bottom. Let's click on that and activate and deactivate the effect. We can then see that the brightness only changes at the top. By the way, this is something that works very well with skies and clouds to create a more intense look for the sky. So with these two effects, dynamic brightness and color dynamics, and one preset, a gradient preset from this image, let's hold down the right mouse button for a moment, and we've made this image. I'm going to save this as a custom preset. I can also use this method to create custom presets or modify existing ones. I'm going to go back to the natural presets. I will select the glow preset. In this area, we see the exact effects that are responsible for this preset. I copy that to make a copy of this preset. Then I return to my custom presets, to my copy, and can now say, for example, I don't want to reduce the local contrast. That is, I don't want to make the image softer, but to increase the contrast significantly. I want to add more details to the image, maybe increase the aura effect slightly, and increase the existing color dynamics a little. And now I have created my own custom glow effect in the form of a preset. It's a bit brighter, a bit more intense. The feature lets me create my own custom presets and modified presets really quickly. This doesn't just work in the color program. If I switch to another program, the process is exactly the same. I'm now in the video program for black and white videos, Black and White Video 1 Professional, and there is also an expert mode here that works in exactly the same way. However, there is one significant difference. That is that the list of filters is different, because naturally a black and white program needs different filters, or at least some different ones. Some are the same as in the color program. For instance, the area of color filters is much less pronounced in a black and white program. For that purpose, I need much more subtle tools for manipulating tonal values, like brightness. Maybe we will take another look at the analog program. The expert mode there also works in exactly the same way, but there are just a lot more special effects for creating things like wet plates, or camera obscura, or maybe the look of an old newspaper, as we have here. I briefly wanted to show you the special effects you can find up here in the default preset and how to recognize them. For instance, here we have the effect Structure Lights. When we activate it, as I just did, we see that it has a large number of parameters. They let us increase the intensity, change color tones, which is not particularly useful in this black and white look now, but we can of course remove the desaturation again. We then get a colored light. We can move its position to the image here, for example. You may now be asking, how can I change the appearance of this light? Up here you can see a special button. This is the texture or preset viewer for this specific effect. Let's click it. Now we can see all the presets that are available for light effects. Let's choose the second one up here. These are really beautiful colored lights, which we can now position here. I can change the coloring here using this color tone slider, or again, take out the saturation. Naturally, that means I get the effect with less color, or even with no color at all, which of course can also be very useful for an analog look. So hopefully you were able to get something from that video. I hope you enjoy trying it out and applying your knowledge. And in expert mode, you're likely to discover a whole load of things you can do with images that you've never seen before. With that, we'll see you next time.